right now, we've got this doing automatic pulls every week for new interns and only new interns.
Yes.
Okay, the rollover is for annual records or for annual files. So what I was saying was, when it is time to do, actually, I'm gonna go back home. When it's time to do an annual pull, which I do in January every year, the first thing I do is I go to the email maintenance and I update the master email for the annual, for the year or whatever, so that it's ready to go once it's ready. The second thing I do is I set the date. Where is that? I gotta remember where it's set. Oh, here it is. You see, set annual filer due date. And I set it for the year because this is the thing. As you can see, it's the 15th of February, unless that falls on a weekend or on a holiday. So you set the actual date that it's coming in. So I do that, right? So, and then the next thing I do is, after I've done that, is go to do the pull. So here, and we pull the annual, right? And you execute the data pull. So once I execute the data pull, it'll bring in all the annual records. And then there's also that reconciliation link there that lets me know people that filed last year that did not get pulled this year, so I can make sure that we didn't have people fall off because they changed opcodes or something like that, right? And what I was saying is, you would want to add the pulling over the information to this process. This is where you would do it. Because the whole point is, when you pull an annual record now, you're just pulling in the record and it's pulling in the people's information. So their name and where they are and their opcode and so forth and so on. And then it's giving them a blank file to complete. But what we would want here is for the file that gets pulled to have all of that information, but also all of the information that's on the report as well.
When you say report, you're talking about a form 450?
Yes.
Okay. So you want all the form for safety information from previous years to populate the current year. I mean the next year.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It will only be for the annual filers, right? Because new entrants won't have previous information.
For all the annual filers, or for part of the annual filers? For all the
ones. So you would be pulling everybody that still exists. So, and if somebody was exempted out last year, then you wouldn't pull them. But basically, if the person gets pulled, they should have the records from the year before.
Oh,
that's part of what they're doing.
So basically, for this new annual pool, you probably have some of them that you have record for last year, but not for this year. You also have some new ones, which is just new for this year and not for last year. So you want to have those who had previous years get populated for
Stop.
Okay.
Stop. No. Okay. The report I want is the report from the last year, with the exception of, there are some people who don't get pulled as annual filers because they filed in November or December of the year before. So they don't have to file. So for the following year, those people should get pulled as annuals, and that information from that report is going to be the last report that you're always going to be pulling for. I don't want us to be pulling from previous reports beyond the last report.
But for the report, but for those just pulled in the last 3 months, I believe it's last 3 months or 90 days or something.
It's 60 days. It's 60 days.
Yeah.
So you have to serve.
Yeah. But
you have to serve more than 60 days.
For those who pulled in the last 60 days of the previous year, they are not going to be pulled in the annual.
They should not be pulled as annuals. But what I'm saying is, the people from the year before need to be pulled as annuals. Okay, so let's say I filed a report in November of 2022. I don't have a record for 2023. The only record that I have is a training record so that we can make sure that those people take training. But I don't have a record for 2023. When 2024 comes along, though, I should have a record, and I would want that record to reflect the last report I had. Versus, let's say I filed a new entrant report in September of 2022. Well, if I filed in September of 2022, then I also filed an annual in 2023, and the report for 2024 should only reflect what's on the report for 2023.
Sure, I think that's the reason why we were.
I understand, but for the one like filed in November 2022, what is going to happen? So there's no 2023 report. So
and they should show up on the 2024 with the information that was on their November 22 report.
I see. Okay.
It should be the last report that they have is what you should be pulling.
Report they have. Okay, right. The last report they have. It doesn't matter if it be the previous year or the last year. Yeah. So Shram, please put all these details.
Yeah. I'm putting it. But as I originally said, right, Shu, like that's the reason why Jessica mentioned earlier too. If we go from November 1st of the previous year till the October 31st of this year, then it will include everybody actually.
So you want the entire report got copied? Because we do have we do have the record for for the table of 450. What do we have to do? Is just make a copy and make it a year of 2024 for that particular filer. So I guess
yes, but I want them to be able to change it.
Editable. You're saying changes what?
Yes. So let's say I filed in 2023 and I had Apple stock and IBM, and I sold them at the end of 2024. I want to be able to remove those and add whatever else I have.
I see.
So I want to be able to take things off and add things too.
Okay. I think we need to copy the basic information, but not those status and all the others. So we need to selectively not copy the entire record. I have to copy only the information data that user entered. Okay. So previous year, how this happened? Let me see. The end user have to manually enter all the information again, right? This is just save the filers so that they can just add it rather than enter.
So the thought process is that and when our filers use our 278 filers use a different system, but in that system they're able to basically pre-populate their next report with the information that was on their former report, and the idea is then you can make edits to that instead of having to write it all over again. And there's some people who have pages and pages and pages of assets. So it will be a real savings to them to be able to just go, oh, I don't have this one anymore. Let's remove that. Or I've got one new asset. And all I need to do is add that one new asset, as opposed to having to write again those pages and pages of assets.
Oh, okay. So in that case, it's not just the form itself. It has all the other tables, like as you said, assets, and maybe also other.
Anything that they put on.
Related.
Okay, hold on. Let me.
Yeah.
One second. I'm just gonna do this. Okay, never. That one didn't work. One second. I'm trying to find somebody who actually had something on their report.
Jessica, I have a meeting in 3 minutes, another
Okay.
meeting.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make somebody else the host here. Maybe I'll make Storm. Can I make you the host?
Yeah, I think for the most part, since Jessica is sharing, you might want to make Jessica the host, actually.
I agree.
It doesn't matter, but okay, fine.
I'm trying to find one that has something on it.
All right, guys, I will drop so I can get
Okay.
another.
Thank you.
See you later.
Okay. Bye.
I'm sorry. I need to find somebody with something on it.
Your favorite Daniel Smith is not there.
I don't want to do a somebody that's all knows, and I kept pulling
Yeah,
up
actually,
all
like that's why if you go to cat, I think that might be better. So that way you can play around or change the data or do anything you want, actually.
Okay. Well, I don't ever usually go into cat unless you guys tell me to go into cat.
Okay.
All right, hold on.
Yes.
Okay. So this has yes, no, no, no. This person has a list of stuff that they've put in here, right? And I would want all of that to show up on their new report. And then if they had other information, anything that they've put in, we would want it to show up on their new report. The only thing that you wouldn't have come over are reviewers' comments or certifiers' comments.
Right.
And then they would be able to remove or add, edit, whatever they need to do. Now, let me tell you, this person, I still would be mad at them because these are all tickers, and you're supposed to do more than just tickers. But anyway, the whole point is they would be able to see all of this. And then they could say, oh, I no longer have AAKK, so I'm going to get rid of that and be able to remove it. And now I have IBM, so I'm going to add that because, that would have the ability again to edit. That's the idea. That all of the information that's on the previous report would show up on the current report, but they would have the ability to add or take away as necessary.
So basically make this screen, the Form 450, editable only for the current year. When does that become fixed or frozen from edits, actually?
What do you mean?
So the filer comes in, he or she looks at that particular information about that person, wants to go and make the change and everything. Now, at some point in time, you don't want that person to keep on be editing, right? At what point in time do you want them to be frozen?
Well, once they submit it, the filers no longer have access to it.
Shereen, the filer themselves will edit just their information from last year. They're responsible to update this information, and once they're done, they just submit their report, and then report will go in and review.
Okay, glad I asked.
So once meet, then they basically cannot edit.
And then and I don't want the reviewers to have, which is interesting because in integrity we do, but I don't want the reviewers to have the ability to make edits. Right now, when we have something's wrong, we just put it in our comments. So it would be the filer that has the right to make the edits to. One thing though, I just thought about this. So we have the ability to reset it, and when it's reset, it takes away all the information that was put in there before. If we are resetting a report now, I would want it to reflect how it came over in the pool as opposed to being empty.
Meaning when you reset, you don't want all those properties to be populated, just have the filers alone pulled in, actually.
No. When you reset, I don't want it to. Currently, if you reset a report, let's say the filer put in 5 assets and then they submitted it to us. But then they were like, oh, I actually have 10 more I need to add. Can you send it back to me? Well, we let them know you can send me an email and I can put that in my reviewer's comment, or I can send it back to you. But if I send it back to you, you'll have nothing. It'll go back to nothing. It basically wipes the table. But now I wouldn't want it to wipe the table. I would want it to go back to what was pulled over in the pull.
But that will be for everybody, right? Not just for one or two person, correct?
No, for everybody. If the report is reset, I would want it to be reset to the state of what came in the pull, as opposed to making it empty.
When you say the pull, meaning the new process pull, actually, basically whatever was pulled.
Yes.
So let's say
Yes.
the pull happened in the new process. Then you went on and added 3 assets and removed 3 assets and saved and everything. Now that's an update that's been done on top of the pull. But when you click on the reset pull button, then what happens is that it basically does the pull one more time, which means that anything that you changed, like adding properties, adding assets, removing anything that has been done to some of these filers will all go away, and it will reset it back to how the data pool originally brought back the data, basically.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want it to do it for everybody, right? The only reason we wouldn't reset every filer, right? It would be one filer saying, I have a problem. So I would want it to go back to what they had. I wouldn't want it to reset everybody. That would be a problem.
Oh, when you say reset, then
I'm talking about I filed something and I realized I didn't put what I needed to put in it. So I'm asking you, because it's with you it's at the review stage. So I'm asking you, reviewer, to send it back to me.
Okay.
So when you send it back to me, the way it gets it back to me is basically anything that I put in the table is gone and I have to start all over. But what I would want is, if I send it back to you, it's not starting all over. It's starting from the spot. It's starting from what was pulled.
Okay. Got it. So, that's going to be very tricky. The reason why I say that is, now once you pull over everything, all the master and the child tables and everything going to get populated with the previous year's data, and then you're going to start working off of that for every filer. Now, for any specific filer, if you think that it has to be reset, then we need to keep a record of all the information for all the filers, which the way it was brought over from the last year as a backup or something, and then we have to look up that backup table from how it was pulled, and then go to the specific filer and then take that record alone and then update all the master tables with the backup record, actually, right?
Okay, and if that's going to be too difficult, then I mean, that's what I would want. But if we think that's going to be too difficult, then I guess the whole thing is we can tell them, if we do a reset, then it's going to go back to it being just completely empty, and then they'll have to put all the information back in.
Yeah, so that could be a 2-step approach if you're okay with that, because what we can do is, instead of not giving the reset at all, I agree with what you're saying. It's easy for us to, keep the basic information about the filer and then remove or, make all the other data like assets and everything to be null, and they have to re-input everything. But once we complete this whole process, then, based on the time, we can, work on the reset part, and then, make it as a separate release or something, wherein we create backup tables, and then the reset will not just nullify all the values which was brought in or updated, but it will just basically go and take it from the backup record and then populate that. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that way you get the data pool completed. The reset will only nullify the values for all the specific filer, and it will not put back everything that was brought in from the last year, and they have to input manually, just like how they are doing right now. But as a second phase, we can work on that and then see how we can work on individual filers reset by making a backup table or something, and then before you start editing it, we can basically create a backup of that, and then whenever you want to reset, we can go and look up for that particular specific filer and then pull that record and then update that record actually.
Okay.
So is it only the assets which you normally edit, or anything else also you will?
No, it can any of the 5 areas.
Okay. So the filers get pulled and they will not be able to go ahead and edit anything. But once the filers gets pulled, then, like the reviewer is the only one. In case, say you talked about an example of, adding 2 assets and removing 2 assets. Who will be the one who will be doing that actually?
Okay, no, the filers the ones, okay, once we do this pull, the filers should be the ones that make changes.
Okay, that's what I
They
thought.
are the one that
okay,
edit.
got it. Okay.
Once it comes to us, we don't have, unless we change the process, we don't have the ability to change what's actually on the table once it comes to us. Like, it comes to us as basically a sealed record. We don't have any fill in. So the way that we make changes to it is just noting it in the comment.
Understood. Okay, I see. I wanted to clarify that. So I just want to make sure once we pull in, the filers will have an opportunity to make all those edits, like adding assets, removing assets, or changing any other parameters of or the attributes of them. And then once they submit and comes to the reviewer, at that point it becomes frozen, and then like only the reviewers can do that, but even reviewers will not edit them, but they'll put it on the comments if anything is not right or something. So, correct?
Right.
Okay, good. Shu?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I think for this one, I'm good. I just want to know when Jessica, you want this to be in pod for the new annual for next year? Like, normally you do in January or February?
It's done in January because it has to be filed by February.
I see. Okay. So you want it to be in there in prod probably.
Right. This is what the problem has been year after year after year. Because if it's not ready to go before January, then
the whole thing has to wait for another year. I think
that's what the issue is. Why this process has gotten rolled over and over again. It's because if it's not done so that I can roll it out in January, it's not of use to me until the next year.
Issue for our internal timeline, right? Like, let's shoot for at least December 15th for production and then backtrack the dates based on that. So if we can ideally, do it, put it in the cat by like 11:15 or 11:20, that will give some time for Jessica and team to test it thoroughly or come back and do any fixes that we missed out and then roll it over into production for December 15th. Let's tentatively park the date for now, Shu, and then we'll work towards that one.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'm kind of late for the other meeting, so Shu, I kind of recorded this one, on my phone, so in case if we need, we can always play it back and then we can clarify something. Okay.
Maybe we can quickly talk about the new org. So Shrem, if you're busy with another meeting, then I can talk to you.
I need to drop off. I'm a little bit late on the other one, so you can ask Jessica, but I would say, let's get going, unless, if it's like a couple of days worth of work, let's quickly take care of that and get back to this one. Sure. Okay. But if it's going to take more than 3-4 days, I would say let's talk about it, because we want this rollover task to keep rolling. So, okay, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jessica.
Yes.
You're welcome.
All right, bye.
Okay, so Jessica,